was clear at my event with Blizzard this weekend. Housing is here to stay.
Okay.
They have been working on this for a really long time, and it is way, way better than you think it's going to be.
I hope
Let's
so.
get into this. I'm going to quick fire a ton of stuff at you because I got to see a hell of a lot, but I want to preface this very quickly, so indulge me for 1 minute. This thing that I went to with Blizzard is not the usual thing we get to do. This was not a marketing thing. We weren't allowed to record. We did do some interviews, but a lot of it can't be used because the devs were very open about where the future and stuff is going, and we can't share that information, so we will have our interview on our other channel as much as we could possibly show you. This whole purpose was that PAX was going on in Boston. They were having the WoW 30th anniversary event, and they just asked, can some of you hang out for an extra day in order to come and check this? You just happen to be in town, so please come and check out this thing. That was the whole purpose of it. It was off the books in terms of like being a...
By the way, out of all the World of Warcraft like content creators, and I know Preach doesn't really claim himself to be World of Warcraft based. He kind of does a lot of things now. Preach is one of the OGs, you know what I mean? He's like the guy. He understands the game. He understands the history of the game. He was there. He's been there, and he's still there. And it's kind of sad to see like a lot of, especially with like a lot of streamers now, leave the game, and then Blizzard not really care about what's going on. And because we still got some of these streamers and like 200 view streamers, 100 view streamers, which again more than me, by all means. It's still something to look at, because if you can't get the mass to enjoy streams, then what's going on? Like, be able to watch a game is also proof that the game is good. And that's another thing, do you know what I mean?
A big media event. It was nothing to do with that. And it was dedicated to genuine, proper feedback. In fact, only a couple of the people who went to this thing are pure, dedicated WoW players. What they did do, though, was invite a bunch of people who have dealt with housing in other games. They had some very Final Fantasy 14 focused people. Everyone...
Final Fantasy 14 would have like the best housing, except I think WildStar was another one that had like exceptional housing, and I hope they kind of go down the WildStar route. What I've seen, they haven't, not to the extent of WildStar anyway, but apparently the customization is amazing.
Everybody was there for a specific reason. If you don't know, because you only followed me for WoW stuff, I have held the largest Final Fantasy 14 housing events in the game over the last couple of years. So that's why I was there, to talk about the kind of events.
I don't think I could ever play Final Fantasy. Just for stuff like this. I don't hate on it. It's just not for me. It's not the aesthetic I like.
And things we can do. Everybody else have their own purpose.
I know World of Warcraft has similar things, but by all means,
and we sat down and we talked with individual devs, the whole team who's working out of their Boston office, who's been working on housing. We had like a UI dedicated person there who wanted negative feedback. They were very open of like, we get the praise. We want to hear where the problems are, where we can improve it, what things you've dealt with in other games, all that kind of thing. This is the focus. WoW is going very classic here in terms of Blizzard. They have looked at everything, and they're not shy about it either. They have looked at Valheim, Stardew Valley. They've looked at Final Fantasy 14. They've looked at WildStar. They've looked at Path of Exile. They've looked at all these games, and they found what they like about it, and then they've made it better. I'm just going to say it. They have. They've made it.
Okay, hearing Preach, out of all the people, say they've made it better, or in his own honest opinion, they've made it better, is huge. It is absolutely amazing to hear that, because I don't think he would bullshit. Out of all the people who likes things of World of Warcraft, I don't think he would bullshit.
It better, and that's where Blizzard got its name from. They looked at what other games were doing,
copied it.
They like it. It's good. How do we take all that and then we make our own version, which is superior? And that is exactly what they've done. It's very classic 2004 to 2010 Blizzard, where they were so far ahead, they were just making their own stuff, and it didn't quite work out in some cases. So with that said, I'm just going to quick fire through some stuff for you to get your answers out there, all right? I'm doing this in a nice numbered list for you guys. Number one, these houses are like the TARDIS. For non-Doctor Who fans, that means that the outside of the house, which is something you can decorate, does not equate to what is inside of the house. If you want a one-room entryway with a sprawling vast church on the second floor, and then you want your third floor to turn into a 5-story tower jumping puzzle, you can do that. You can.
Okay, I don't believe this. I actually don't believe this.
Do whatever the hell.
I don't even care about player housing, but I want to see what the people do. It's all about the community. It's all about building community, building aesthetics. It's builds okay. This is great.
You want with the shape, the rooms, it doesn't matter. You want to build it.
Okay, you know what? You know what? I'm gonna say it, right? Don't care. I just got killed. The one thing I think everyone misses, and I hope to fucking God, I hope to God, the one thing that everyone misses are things like Asmongold, Transmog competitions, right? These are like events. They're not Blizzard owned. They did kind of try and do some things and take it as an idea. But imagine player housing transmog competitions. You have a group of 10 people, whoever gets the best one, or Asmongold has like his own little group. I don't know how it is, again, I don't know how it works, but it would be nice to have a group of 5 people to go into one player house and they help build and design things for you as well, like within the home. That would be absolutely fucking amazing.
The giant room, go ahead and do that. They come in like these preset things and you can just attach them to the side. Just have a button say, add another room.
Okay. If this is real, this is absolutely fucking
What do
amazing.
you want this to be? Do you want this to be a clock tower? Do you want it to be a double high, massive empty box? Do you want it to be a giant wide open octagon space?
Okay.
Go ahead, just clap it on. It doesn't matter what's beneath it in any way so far. The limitation is really, are the
They also need to make sure that not everything's locked behind buying shit or like ridiculous content. So make a lot of the content that you do, be like Transmog, a lot of the content you can do could be from quests, could be from world quests, it could be from like achievements, basic achievements like, oh, just go help the little lambs in the whatever garden, stuff like that. Go and doing old raids, super easy stuff. Going to farm full set bonuses, as once you get that set you get something else as well. Old bosses, old dungeons, so leveling is more important. All these types of things, I hope they don't just do it to late game, end game shit. Because one thing they do all the time, they have a new idea, they bring out this idea, they go, hey, I've got a great idea, we're going to do this, we're going to put it out into the game, and it is max level end game content. Or it is close to max level world quest type content, and that's it. Never used again. This obviously won't be like that, but make it where if I'm level 20 and I go do a quest in the Barrens, I can get like a typical barrel, like a shitty looking barrel from the Barrens, easy peasy. I went and did that quest. I also got a reward for it. Please, for the love of God, add things like this. It will open the world up a bit more. It'll make people go relive the old content. People who are like whores for like getting the old all the content unlocked. Transmog runs and stuff like that are prime examples, and mount runs are prime examples. Have another layer to this.
room's
Please.
accessible. You can't just
Make
make
it
a
old
floating room
content.
off in the middle of nowhere that no one can get to.
Please.
That you can't do. But do you want to make a giant mega jumping puzzle? Sure. Do you want to make a giant maze? Sure. Do you want to make hidden rooms with secret doorways and passages?
Yep.
You can totally do that. The whole focus
I
is
love
freedom.
it. I love it.
Number 2, do you want random blocks and things just floating in midair? Do you want a 200% scaled candlestick that shoots through the ceiling and looks like it's stabbing you in the face? Yep, go ahead and do that. While we were talking to Jay Huang, who's
Okay.
been
Yep. No barriers.
the art and prop guy for Blizzard for like over 15 years. He was literally doing demonstrations for us, and he was like, I designed that table in like Mists of Pandaria that's here now. He was saying that they did a ton of research. In particular, Valheim came up again, and they have a gravity system.
I do want to know how do you do unlock it? Like how do you get, because they've got like, oh, we've got all these different types of things from all the different parts of the game. How do you unlock all these types of things? Do you get, you did the mop raids, so you get this much, it's a group of like 10 items, or is it individual items?
System, and it became very apparent is like
Like-
why are we
like, come
bothering
on,
with
how-
gravity? Let's just not do that. It's not
These
fun.
are important
Players
questions.
always
These are
find
very important
ways and
questions.
means of trying to glitch things to get them in the right place, so let's just do away with that and have them put things wherever they want. If the player just wants random stuff because they're creating a magical Karazhan themed place, let them do it. It's fine. It doesn't matter
Let
whatsoever.
the players
Just
have
let
fun.
them go and do it. If you want to just the limitation on this. You want to push things through a wall? Go ahead. It's not a problem. Do you want to bury this? Do you want this to just be enormous and an inconvenience for you? Yeah, go ahead and do that. You can literally just put stuff in free floating space wherever the hell you feel like it. Number 3, creativity is everything, okay? All the new items that are coming into WoW are designed with housing in mind, especially the dyeable ones, okay? Because if you haven't seen already, you can dye and change the color of some of the items. Not all, it's the new ones. And that is going to be the focus going forward, which we had confirmed with new assets coming into WoW. So they've got 2
Okay, I don't really care about this. It's not that big of a
problems
deal.
they're dealing with. One,
it's whatever.
A lot of the
it's a good idea.
Items literally don't have.
I don't get how they got all that floating, spinning around.
Like a bottom or a side
That's
on
got
some
to be
of them,
some sort of
because they were
effect,
never going to be seen by the player. So why would you bother putting a bottom into it, right? So some tankards and carpets and things like that just don't have an underneath. They were never going to be seen. So they are retroactively going back and adding stuff to that over time. And they pointed out that we get basically a push every other day of brand new items that are being added to the library that have been fixed by the art team. New items, though, are all being designed with this in mind.
Okay, again, please just make it easy to get some of these items, maybe just being around them. Like...
That means that there's a new layer every time there's a big patch coming for World of Warcraft forevermore. This isn't going away. That means that if the next patch, based on the cutscene, and I'm not spoiling anything here, the cutscene is ethereal themed.
Yeah, at least they're putting money into something, you know?
Not only a new
they
zone,
need to have people
awesome.
here for
new
this.
Raid, awesome. But you're also going to get a bunch of new housing stuff because the assets for the new zone or whatever, if you think about how dense the Undermine is, are going to be joining the housing system as well, right? So you're going to get that new layer forevermore, as long as, you know... If this works, which it should, there's just going to add, oh, cool, we're getting a new Murloc-themed or Troll-themed place. That also means we're getting a whole bunch of new housing things to come along with it, right?
Okay, yeah, that's...
So that then means the next issue. Number 4.
That kind of answers their question. That answers their question, you know? Are they going to keep this as a main thing? Obviously they are, like, this is great.
How many items can you have? For those of you who've definitely played Final Fantasy XIV, you will have probably come up against the item cap in a house very regularly. You can have a very limited amount of items, which means if you make a very dense room that's full of micro details and really tiny little things to give it that really nice depth.
These do look really good, to be fair.
The likelihood is you'll hit the item cap and you'll have to block off the rest of the house because that will have to be empty. You literally cannot put more items into the house. That is not going to be a thing from what we can see in World of Warcraft at all.
Will this be a lag issue? Because World of Warcraft has a lag issue anyway, especially retail. Now, overloading the house cause lag, because I know there will be someone who will make a bot, because bot is a big thing, where they just constantly make thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of tables, and there will be some sort of like server lag issue. Is there going to be an issue with this? Because this is a problem. We've seen it before. Hundreds of people run to Wargrimmer and they lag the server and they have to reset.
The item cap we got in the build we played with, which is not like the release cap.
And also, there is another thing, which probably won't be an issue. I hope it isn't. And I know there's going to be some guys already thinking about this. If they do have to undo a server, do player housings, for example, let's say there's some sort of big lag, and they have to kind of like go back 5 seconds. Someone's been building a house. Does the house have to go back 5 seconds as well? Will this cause issues? Who knows? I'm just these are questions. These are questions. Let's hope everything's fine, you know?
Candidate or anything was 10,000 items. The most dense buildings and rooms and houses they have created internally, which involves, if all the marketing you've seen for housing is one house that Jay built. It's one house. All the shots you've seen of different themes, restaurants, all that kind of stuff is just one house. They have not gone past 2,000 items. You can be immense. Absolutely immense. This should not really be a thing. Now, having said that, there is a caveat to it. Everything we were able to build in our build meant that one item took up one slot of the 10,000, right? That's not
Mhm.
probably going to be the case in the live version because not everything is made equal. If you want to put a 200-foot rotating giant windmill in your building, which you can do right now, we did that.
Yep.
That will maybe take 5 slots, right? Whereas
Oh, okay,
an
okay.
undermined goblin pointing arrow that you attach to a wall will be 1. So they will vary that a little bit, but generally speaking, items will not be a limitation in doing this. Number 5,
Okay, that's good.
how hard is it to use?
That's good.
It is
This also means if there ever is an issue, they probably won't, but if there is an issue, they will probably look at updating the servers. And that's a big thing because WoW servers have been notorious for causing problems or having problems. So,
stupidly easy
and
to
they've been
use.
good at
Like,
it lately.
to the point where the easy mode we didn't use because we defaulted to the advanced mode more than anything because we were rubbish with using the easy mode, which they came around and were like, everything you're trying to do right now in advanced mode, you could do very easily in the easy mode because you have snap mode where it will just like clip to things, and if you say put segments of a floor together to make a fountain area, it will go, oh, you're making a circle, we'll just clip it together, or you can detach it or whatever, so you can move the whole thing. If you
Okay.
put several things together, you then have freeform mode, so you can just rotate it using the mouse wheel or whatever. You can do whatever you
Yep.
want to do. And then you have the advanced mode where you can change the shape, size of it, and individual rotations and spin it and do all kinds of things. You can actually
Okay,
do that
that's
in the
gonna
easy
be
mode.
fun.
It's just that we were rubbish with that, and we just defaulted to the advanced mode, which was still really easy to use. That is totally fine. It's very, very simple to use. They've done a great job here.
I do have to say, is it easy for anyone? Because, again, Preach said that he's been doing housing, and a lot of people have done housing. Me, myself, I don't really do housing. I'm not really a person who is into creating a player home or whatever. Not really my thing. Don't really care for it. I'll make what I make, and it'll be like that forever. But is it good for people who want to get into using it? That's the big question. And it seems like there is, but he also knows how to use systems, you know? How you doing,
I was
Lightning?
actually
How you
really
doing?
surprised. There are some limitations based on the feedback we gave, which is going to be added to the game. Like, I want to make sure you understand that everything I'm talking to you about now has been directly fed back to them, and they're fully aware of it. So, such things as a quick bar. If
Yep.
you're building, like Draknos built this very intense maze to get lost in, you're probably going to be using one piece of wall many, many times. So, a hotbar to put that on so I could just click that hotbar and keep going, because you can keybind everything that you're doing here, which is great. I rebound all my keys to housing very quickly, and it worked out super well. Is you probably want that on a
Okay.
hotbar and a favorites list. That's all coming into the game. One thing that is missing right now that they're working on is a history mode. I'll talk more about that later in the limitations. But generally speaking, cloning is more difficult. So if you make, let's say you make a very custom thing. So one example, I made this view through a window, which is a very common thing to do in housing, where I took a piece of wall, I then like scaled it to a certain way to get a piece of the wall, and then I buried that wall into the floor so that I could create this window outlet that was the right size for my character. All that kind of stuff took very specific measurements. I
Okay,
can't
like
then clone that piece
Final
to
Fantasy
say I want
stuff
the
is
window to be twice as
so
wide. So I want to clone that and do it again.
layered.
That's a limitation they're working on. And a history mode to go back through various changes that you made. They want to check it. So that is a technical issue that they're trying to resolve for that.
Okay,
But
well, at least
at the same
Blizzard doing
time,
it.
it's not a mega inconvenience because all the information is given to you very easily. All the degrees are listed numerically, so you can just easily copy them, as well as the scaling numbers. So it's a minor
Okay,
inconvenience,
yeah.
nice to have for those kinds of things that you want to have. Number 6 then, performance. You're probably worried about performance, right?
Yes,
Fine.
it's an issue.
Like,
Server
actually
performance.
really, really fine. You've got to think about it. This is actually not going... It's no different than a building in WoW without the rest of the
Okay.
outside world loaded either. There's a lot of things in there. I will say, I'm not going to mention any names. Some people did try to crash it by
Okay, this
filling
is the thing.
10,000
The servers that
slots
we have.
and didn't manage it. They've tried.
I already predicted this. People are already going to try and spam the hell out of like making thousands of tables. But if there's a limit, and they can't, the particle effects and all that kind of stuff isn't a big deal. Again, the play housing is going to
And
be
they
fun.
tried to lag it by making the most ridiculous things you could possibly imagine. Let's put it this way. If your game runs okay in the open world, you're going to be absolutely fine. And if you want to try, I have no doubt somebody will be able to lag this game out. Of course they
Yep.
will. Or create some sort of glitchy issue within this. But it's going to be an uphill battle that you're going to be trying to force to happen, right? That's
Okay,
going to
yeah,
be
yeah.
the thing that's going to happen.
I assume if enough people do it, then it'll
Okay,
be a
those are
problem.
the general things outside of what you've seen in announcements. Obviously, I'm looking at this with you have some preface knowledge. So at the beginning of my day, within the first hour when the devs were hanging out with us, I was like, "You've opened this." The word of the thing I said was, "This is Pandora's box," and that then became like the word of the day. It's Pandora's box. There's already way more creativity and freedom than I expected from the first version of housing. And the problem you have now, which I think we all ran into, is you start having really grand ideas about things that you want that
Wait. My toenail I injured 3 weeks ago has fallen off. Okay, that is not good. That is not good. Hope you recover though.
aren't there yet. Like ridiculous things. Because you have this whole massive template in front of you and you want to fulfill more insanity. You just want more and more things to do with it. Like, I want mega spotlights to create crazy shadows and things. And they're like, yep, that's coming. We're totally working on that. And now I want, like, tailored music. Can I get music to, like, be in this zone of the
Yes.
room? And then the
Actually,
music
that's a good point because World of Warcraft in general has like some of the best music, and having it where like let's say you have a room and it's built to be like a church, for example, and you walk into that room, you would want to have some sort of like theme music for that room to fit the aesthetic of the room. So that would be
shifts
great.
here so I can almost tell a story because I can predict this, like, horror themed place where I want somebody to see something in a corridor and then the music shifts and they're like, yep, well,
Or even in-game quotes as well. Having in-game quotes, or like, for example, in AQ40, there is Cthulhu. Cthulhu has his own little like his little quotes that he'll have within the raid, and if you have your music up loud enough, you will eventually hear it. So having these types of things, if you have like an old goddess type themed room, you could have that little like quote every now and then pop up just to kind of fit the theme. So that'd be
working on
great.
that, all those kind of things. But that's their issue they're going to run into. So I'm going to move into limitations and things now. Again, to reiterate, everything I'm about to tell you, we have already fed back to the devs, and they're aware of it, and they're looking at it. And
Okay.
be under no illusion, everything I'm talking about right now is one of like infinite avenues that Blizzard now has to explore over the next 10 years. So
All right, face it. Your life is a complete mess right now. The
Damn.
weeks, you're spending way too much money going out, and your doom
No.
scrolling habit is back.
Okay,
but number
maybe.
one, import,
Jesus
export, all right?
Christ.
Not, let's face facts. Most of us, especially me, are not creative geniuses when it comes to housing. And actually
Anything,
just
yeah.
creating. I don't have the patience to do the minute detail. But there are those people out there, and this opens a whole new avenue for super users and truly amazing creative people to build wonderful, wonderful things. Now, here's the issue you run into, and this occurs if you're not aware of or you've not played a game with housing before. This is actually a genuine thing. Is you're opening the possibility of account sharing because you want those people to come and do your house. Hell,
Okay, you don't even need to do that, right? This is how you do it. You have it where you can allow people to go into your home, right? And they can design things with you, right? So this opens up like multi-group like events and oh, let's build this thing, let's build this home, blah blah blah. It'll be great, whatever, right? There's also there's couples who play this game together. There's friends who play this game together. So that would be another thing, just a bit like in Minecraft, I guess, where you can build the home together. You can design things together, as well as if you invite someone and you go, hey, look, how do you get that thing in your home? Let's say you went to theirs, or you know, as whenever they did it, and they said, oh, I know how to do it. It's easier to do it myself. Pay me 10,000 gold and I'll come do it, or I'll just come do it for you. So just invite them, and they just come and design it for you. Super easy. Super easy. Not only that, the people that can't really do this, aka myself, I'm not very good at designing anything, it would be good to have it where they can come to your little place and just do it with you and just show you the best way to do it. Hey, if you lead it up like this, you can do it like this. So people are involved with each other. It's a very good way. It's very good for the community. No one's really going to have an issue. Obviously, you have to invite them like you did your garrisons or whatever. it'd be great. It genuinely would be the best thing to do for this type of issue. And then you can look at import and export as well if there's ever an issue as well.
We do this not with account sharing, is we commission people and they build things in properties they have access to for us, be that for the Race to World First, if we're doing an FF14 Race to World First, or for our parties and themed parties that we want to do. We have commissioned artists who go out and create these properties for us.
There is the issue of paying someone real money. I don't think that would ever be an issue. But even if they do, who cares? Like, who actually cares, you know? This is a good thing.
And they're phenomenal, right? These builders are absolutely phenomenal. Similar to what we have already in WoW with loadouts and talents and things, import-export is a massive deal for me. One, you want to curb any possibility of account sharing whatsoever, or you want to be able to give moderation rights to another player to say, like, you are the servers. S-Fand actually a really good point here. It's like when in Classic somebody gets the recipe of, say, Lionheart Helm.
Yep.
That's the Lionheart Helm guy. And you want to speak to that guy and get them involved. That
It is hard to do in retail. You're never going to have that really in retail. But if you're more known online, maybe on the more popular people or in the guild, you are the guy. So, like, but the realm itself, no, not necessarily. But definitely within guilds or, like, big groups of friends.
is going to happen with housing with these very creative people and gives a whole new lease on life for the game, is you want them to either be able to come in and work on your property, right?
Yep.
Or you want creators, new fresh YouTubers
he said
and
everything I'm gonna
streamers
say.
and things who build these magnificent things and are then able to upload it and share it so that you're curbing that. And also people can have wonderful, glorious houses.
And actually, here's another thing. I kind of hope that there's maybe a way that people can upload or say to Blizzard could have it their own little thing, a Battle.net type, something that Battle.net is used for, where people can upload this and it will just auto copy and paste a whole room. And it will be Blizzard goes through it, they go, we accept these, not obviously all of them. Maybe you can do some sort of competition. Maybe there's all these like different in and outs of it. But just like a standard library, standard cathedral, standard horde room, standard alliance room, people can already make these and just say to Blizzard, hey, this would be a good start for people who don't really know what they're doing but want to test and try it out. And then you've just got clear rule, get rid of the horde one, I'm an alliance player now, put in the alliance one, happy days, move on. So.
That they just not are creatively inclined or have the patience
Damn.
all the time to invest in and to share in what those guys create. So that would be a huge
That can't be a real thing in Final Fantasy, can it?
plus. If you've
And he says it's better. No, I
ever
don't
played
believe it.
Path of Exile, you'll know this is a huge
Okay, that might be Path of
thing.
Exile.
People create these wonderful and also
Path of Exile, maybe? I don't know what game this is.
houses.
What did it say?
Being that and all have the patience all the time.
I don't know. I've never seen this before in my life. That is insane.
Especially in FF14, everybody wants a house. Everybody can get a house, and wow, it's far easier than ever to get a house. Everybody has access to one. And then the internals of the house are completely untouched. They have the house, they have their plots, and then they don't do anything with it. An enormous percentage of houses are just bare empty inside. Now, this is where the neighborhoods are going to come in, because you'll know how it feels, right? You will be very excited week one to come into it, and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna leave it alone now, right? You don't want that to happen. So neighborhoods are something they weren't able to publicly, I'm dancing around it here, tell us much about. It's what I'll say, because they're not ready to give details.
Okay, I don't know how I feel about this neighborhood stuff and things being in-game as such.
Tail on that. However, we were with the neighborhood lead, Toby, who was, I'll say this.
I wonder if this is going to be a Chasm of Time linked event, not linked event, sorry, linked thing. Just, like, maybe.
For the public
Or do you choose a zone? Like, because in theory, the zones are actually, like, 20 times bigger than they actually are, so, like...
viewing, nudge us in the direction that they're going with this. So they were very clear. We do not want housing to be something that's like bolted onto the game, and that's a separate feature of the game. So you have World of Warcraft, and then you have WoW housing. It's kind of got this distinct line between it. And that's where neighborhoods will come in. They're giving you like low 50s, so they weren't specific. It's like 50 to 55, depending. housing slots, which should be more than large enough for a good active guild. Obviously, if you're in a crazy cesspool guild with like hundreds and hundreds of just nameless people in there, that's not quite big enough. Have multiple neighborhoods. But for, you know, the vast majority of active interactive guilds, that will be fine. But they're going to be holding events there. Seasonal events and things like that will be happening. Outside construction will be going on. And hopefully the activity to create events will be a big deal in order to incentivize you actually going back there. So this isn't, say, Siren Isle. I go, I get my ring, and I just leave, and I never go back there again unless I want some pets or something like that.
Okay.
That's not what they're going for here, because that is a real issue in other games where housing is a separate game. 14 would be an example of that. And if you're not into it, you just never see it again. I have a house because I got the achievement. You have a house, right? Number 3. So return. Number 3 then would be return visits. Coming back to this, if you go and try and do what you can, they're going to have a progression system, right? So let's say week 1. This is another big concern of mine that I made them aware of, and they're working to make sure this doesn't happen, is that they will have some sort of progression system, right? I got to play, as the rest of us did, with basically a fully unlocked housing system. However, if this system comes in, and week 1 I am that super hype guy, and I've got all these ideas, I go to my house, and I obviously, depending on what your past history with the game is, it's going to unlock a bunch of stuff for you immediately.
Okay, this is a good thing.
Immediately, if you've got achievements and things, it'll go, oh, you already did this, so it's just unlocked for you. But you will have limitations. So you want to build this crazy jumping puzzle that's going to be like 6 stories high. It's going to have a connecting bridge across the middle that connects to something else. And you've got this huge idea. However, you go week 1 and you're kind of limited to floor 2 and maybe like 4 rooms. And you're like, oh, okay. And it's not until you get to like progression track 5 to get more things. But
why would you need to progress?
by the time you hit that, you've kind of lost interest. That excitement has dwindled away. And you just can't be bothered, right? It's kind of just fallen into, oh, okay, well, I've unlocked it. I'll go and check that weekend, maybe.
I like, literally, it would be, do you want to unlock this with this? And you have to go buy your floor 5
like
or whatever.
That is a real problem.
If they keep that up, they're going to sell it.
That I don't want them to run into. People should be able to do some pretty amazing things day 1.
Yeah, why have a cap on the content? The content is a great idea. You're like, hey, you can do everything you want. So it's like, okay, I'll do whatever I want. You go into it and you can't do everything that you want.
I think that's a vital part of this. They're aware of it. They're going to do.
And again, what's the progression for? Why would I need the progression? Like, if I only have 4 tables I can put down, I will put down my 4 tables on every single floor.
You do stuff to incentivize
What's
you
the
there.
issue?
I want to be clear on this, though. If you don't want to engage with housing, they were very clear on this, then you don't have to, right? They want to incentivize you going back and investigating your neighborhoods and going seeing it so it's not unfamiliar, it's not a forgotten part of the game. This is evergreen. This is something that's going to be here forevermore.
That's not a big deal,
if you
though. That doesn't matter to the entire game. If player housing is good, allow people to do player housing with no cap.
Like, I hate housing. Sure, that's fine. That's your prerogative. Then you won't have to deal with it in any way. So they're not going to tie it to anything. Number.
Eve to me is basically.
Shut up with your adverts. We don't want no adverts.
Number 4. Utility. Oh my god. There were a couple of, I'm not mentioning names, but a couple of young creators there who were not there during the Garrison days.
Garrisons were shit, but they had so much utility, it was unreal.
Really lucky.
Like, you could literally do everything in your garrison.
I don't know if they're releasing any of the pictures because they took a lot of us during these round. We literally had a bunch of chairs in a circle where we were all shooting back and forth. I was sat next to Paul Cubitt. That name might not mean anything to you, but it should. Paul's been there forever. I interviewed him back when I went to visit the campus. This guy is a creative genius, responsible for a lot of cool things in World of Warcraft. And some of
It's so sad seeing art like this in the background. Dark, gruesome, like deep lore, aesthetically pleasing, wonderful pieces of art for World of Warcraft and the way the World of Warcraft should feel. And it's all gone.
Well, the younger creators who were there were like, what about utility? What can we have, like an auction house? And I was like, oh no.
Definitely not.
It's happening again. No. I turned to Paul and I went, the sins of the father. And he looked at me and he went, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it was nice to see the devs were like, look,
Learning from their mistakes, please. Learn from them.
we're not saying no. And I will give massive shouts here to Zeppler, big FF14 creator, who was very clear on a good suggestion that the devs were like, that's a really good idea. So the idea of mining and herbing came up because wouldn't it make sense that the neighborhood has like a garden that can get the herbs and things like that? And I was like, oh no, oh no, oh no. It's happening.
So there are people who play the game that are just stupid. Or like from other games that are just that they are the problem.
All over again.
Like we've had this, it's been an issue, but you know nothing about it.
Good suggestions like, well, what if there is gardens and things, but the things you're growing there are actually to unlock housing things?
You have gardens for gardening pot type stuff, like plants and aesthetic things, not consumables.
That makes total sense.
So you could have mining or skinning, or like you got sheep and cows or whatever, and you can use them and you leatherwork them into things for the player housing.
That is totally fine because
Keep them open world, actually. Keep that open world as well. Actually, no. Don't ignore me. Ignore me. Have it open world. Have it open world. Please have it open world.
what we can do here is add in profession items where there are specialists who can build.
No, just have it open world. You don't need to do it. Just keep it in the open world. Think about it. Because if you do the herbs, you do the skin. If you do the skin, you might as well do the mining. Next thing you know, you just need to play housing to carry on playing player housing. Keep it in the open world. Or maybe slightly mix it up. You get the big stuff in the open world by the skinning, leatherworking, herbalism, stuff like that. But you also get some of the like softer, easier things. You know, the quicker things, the grey versions of things, or the blue versions of things, or whatever, within play housing. No, so it's like, oh, we just want to make this quick to get, so people can really start getting themselves going. Sure, but things like big vines on the walls and stuff like that, maybe you can keep that. But even then, just unlock it.
Very
Keep it in the
specific
open world.
items, and that uses like the neighborhood system and all that kind of stuff to create those things, which other people might not engage with, and then be able to commission, you know, things to go in the auction house and things like that in the cities. They didn't say no to everything. Like, it does make sense that there's some sort of mailbox or something like that available in the neighborhoods. That fits, but they're
Okay, that's fair.
very wary of adding utility in any form to this that actually is like.
Okay, I would love it if I could have, maybe it's just one character, but you can have an alt that just is an NPC within your player home. That's all I want. Because I only normally have 1 or 2 characters. If I have 3, is that a push? Normally 1 or 2 characters. It's my main, my tank. Off my second character is usually, at the moment, my survival hunter. So if I do it, they're the two things. I would love it if I was in there doing whatever, blah blah blah. And the hunter is just chilling. He's just chilling in the home. I would love it.
Progression
And also make it a Hearthstone as well. Or like a player housing Hearthstone.
utility to the outside game, because if you weren't there during WoD and you're not sure why my heart skips a beat whenever this comes up, garrisons had utility and function in them. They had a mine, they had a herb garden. It meant there was no reason to go out into the world at all, because you could daily collect everything you would ever need for your flasks, potions, your self-fulfilling prophecy. And when you had alts, you could cover every profession in the game without ever leaving your base. And it was instant stuff. It just killed the world. Like, you don't want that at all. Next one is acceptance of this. This is going to be an interesting journey for WoW players. Roleplay in particular. Again, this is why Pandora's Box kept coming up. Roleplay has been looked down upon by a lot of WoW players, despite the fact that...
It's because Goldshire, that is why. And it's the creepy roleplay stuff. No one cares. most of the time, if you do roleplay, who gives a shit, right? It's the creepy stuff. Like, it's the creepy stuff. Come on, it's the ERP. That's what it is.
Roleplay servers are a huge thing, and roleplay has existed forever in World of Warcraft, right? And
Like, everyone's half naked. Like, come on.
I know from my experience where housing
Like, we're trying to kill dragons, and you're dancing naked. Why? What are you getting from this? You know?
is already a thing, is this opens the doors to infinite possibilities of what's going to be.
Again, no hate. You do what you want to do. As long as no one's hurt. That's all that matters, you know? But that's the reason why. That's the reason why. Let's just be honest. That is the reason why. It's okay. You have your thing. By all means. Go ahead. But that is the reason why.
Be happening within the game that they need to be aware of. Some of it was a bit extreme that they were like, really? And like, yeah, like traveling casinos, right? Gambling is a big no-no in World of Warcraft, but you're going to have traveling casinos because players figured out a long time ago how to have active gambling within the game, especially with trustworthy organizations, which are now going to be a thing in World of Warcraft. You're going to know the proper Gallywix Casino Discord. And these guys will turn up and they will provide bars and they will provide various different gambling games that can be played without any of the utility of the game itself.
What?
Between players. They can play blackjack together and all this kind of stuff with slash roll and all these kind of things have been done before.
Oh, like, okay.
You're going to have that.
Death
You're going
roll
to have
type
strip
shit.
clubs, right? You think Goldshire is bad and some people go, strip clubs. Like, dude, this is already in the game in a long way. Check out Drama Time on a Friday. This already exists in a huge way, and now you're going to have organized ones, like genuinely organized ones with proper parties
Again,
and things going on. That is absolutely.
Like, if you've got the clubs and stuff and people goofing around, sure, you might get to the aesthetic of, like, what is it called? You know, there's those role-playing games where they have the chat boxes and anyone in there is talking to each other, blah, blah, blah. Like, by all means, make sure that's not the most popular reason why this is going on. Do you know what I mean? That's all I want. That's all I want. I don't care. I don't care. But just come on. Like, come on. Just beat your dick and go on. Like, come on. Come on. Like, if you're there for the sexual stuff and to be weird online, it's weird. You know, you're being weird online. If you're there to have fun and goof around with your friends, okay, it's fine. That's fine. By all means, it's fine. Go ahead.
Absolutely going to happen. But on the less
You know,
degenerate side, you're going to
fine.
have things like the DJ population, which you guys probably don't even know about. There is a huge amount of live venue DJs that are extraordinary, right? I think of names like Miu Fei, DJ Cyborg, all these people who have regularly DJ'd parties in FF and spin off like remixes of the soundtracks and things like that to the game in a wonderful way and help host parties. These are now going to be an active thing in World of Warcraft because they'll have venues to go to and people will be able to attend. This is something I'm super excited for because I was skeptical, like many of you are, as to how this actually plays out because you always think it's cringe and people just ERPing all over the place. But like that's not the case at all. And I know you don't believe me, but when you visit these things, and I encourage you to do, you'll be like, oh, that's not what this is. This is actually something really different and a lot of people having fun. And more importantly, player-made events. This is the evergreen content that you want in your MMO because this opens the door for the social elements that World of Warcraft specifically has lacked for a really long time.
Because they don't look at making the community feel better whilst doing it. At the moment, it's full of people who don't want to talk to each other. Because they're scared that everyone's toxic. Let's be honest. Everyone's scared that everyone's toxic, but 99% of the time, they're not, because everyone is actually trash. Come on, they wouldn't add a one-button rotation if everyone was good at the game and being toxic to each other. That's the 1%. You get some people who flame, but 9 times out of 10, when you're doing your mythics, no one's moaning. If anything, no one's talking to each other.
With phasing and innocuous names and people
Come on,
being changed from their name to rogue or mage or whatever. The resistance is going to be there for this, but ultimately, if it's handled well and it's encouraged and Blizzard supports these kinds of events and publicizes major ones, then this is going to be an immense addition to the game. There's so much more that I want to talk about with you guys, but I want to keep it as short as possible. So we'll have the full interview over on our second channel.
It's 25 minutes, you said short.
Like I mentioned earlier.
Dang.
But the idea of IP crossover for different themes, right? Can we get StarCraft themed stuff? What if I kill Lilith?
Anything that will be crossovered, I promise you, would be sold. You will be able to buy, I don't know, like StarCraft, like you said, StarCraft themed walls or fucking floorings or whatever, right? Or like heads of creatures. If you buy it, that's what they're gonna do. It's Blizzard. Come on, play
On
housing Blizzard.
hardcore
They're
in
gonna sell loads of
D4,
stuff.
can
You know?
I then have a Lilith trophy?
Maybe.
I will say, like NPCs working in the houses, right?
Again, make it where your characters could be one of the NPCs.
This is a big thing that I can play dress up with. People love doing that kind of stuff. My warband alts hanging out. They already have
Yep.
shown your pets
Yep.
and stuff will be available. All
Ooh.
these kind of things. And the message is clear from me. If this is version 1 that I got to test of the housing, they've way exceeded expectations
Mhm.
by a long, long way. It was really nice that they stopped a lot of the feedback to say, this is great, all the positive. We want the negative. Where are you running into issues? And we gave a lot, especially on like UI interactions, search criteria, all this kind of stuff. We really looked at everything. Basically, if you can think of it, they've
There will be an add-on and some sort of WeCora where you just click a button and it will just do everything for you, or it'll be formatted a lot easier.
thought about it.
So don't worry about
and
anything
are
like
working on it. But they're working on Pandora's box. Every single person who plays with housing is going to want something else. And that's going to be coming.
that. Okay, that's
It's going to
that's
take
decent.
time. This is
That's
years and years
decent.
of work. But for a starting point,
I don't even
Yeah,
care about play housing.
how they kept this a secret for as I now know how long they've been working on this. How in the hell they kept this secret, I don't know.
They've probably been working on it since Shadowlands, and that's why the past 2 expansions have felt lackluster, because they've been putting all their money and work
But
into
it's
that.
pretty exciting. It's really cool. So there you go. Any other questions, you can find me on Twitch, and I'll answer whatever I can, because by the time you see this, the embargo's lifted. Hey! All right. Bye, guys.
Okay. Okay, what did we learn? Whoa. Hold on a minute. We don't need that. Alright, what did we learn, right? Play housing could actually be fun within World of Warcraft. It could. It actually could be fun. Come on. Come on. It could be fun. Allowing people to come into your garage, your playhouse, good. Guild, like neighborhoods, extremely good. It will be filled with like GM officers, and then like Jimmy at the end will never be able to join. But again, the neighborhood stuff, I don't really care. It sounds pretty bad, but hey, as long as we can stick it in different areas, it might be fun. The customization, as you can see here right now, all the different intricate details that they've got, and they've gone back to upgrade for this type of thing, is extremely good. The amount of things you can add to your player housing, and apparently the amount of like floors you can add. You can have big empty towers and all these great little effects. Good. I don't know about like lighting and lighting effects. I don't know how that's going to work. Is it just going to be a standard room? Or can you have like one room has like a very dark glow, one room's got a very light glow, and you can kind of, there's like little like lighting items you can add in that will change the aesthetic of the room. Is every room going to be dark until you put in the light? How does it work? And we need to add things like sound effects and music effects, and have it where like if you build an aesthetic of like a pirate ship type look, have it where you can have the piratey like Cold Tyrian, for example, or the Murloc like type themes within the building itself, and you can just have an area. It might just be a little dot you put on the wall. It's invisible, but you put it on the wall. As soon as they go out of that area, it changes to another one. I'm pretty sure it's like that within World of Warcraft anyway, but they have it, and it's a great thing. And also, actually, this is another thing to move on. This also means that old content that you do within the game, if you've already done it, by all means, that is what it is. But if you're coming back to the game to try this player housing, you go back to the game, you try the player housing, and then you can go back to older content, go finish off the old content super quick because you'll be max level, and achieve things from the player housing, or level alts and do other things with your alts as well. So this means there's layers to player housing. It invites other types of content. Let's hope it's not gate kept with like, oh, rank 1 like DPS or like all that kind of shit, top tier, Mythic Plus, Mythic Raiding type shit. Let's hope it's more on a base level, because they said, oh, we want to make sure everyone can enjoy and play the game, and it's not Mythic 10s and Mythic Raiding and, you know, top ranking PvP. Let's hope that there's a lot of stuff for the common player. That's what I'm just hoping for. But play housing again. This looks great. This looks really, really good. Really, really good. But moving on. Moving on. I think, you know what? Let's see if there's anything else. This is a great video. What people are saying? There's a Diddy thing here. Lol. I'm sure Rex Troy will find a way to one shot. Actually, this is true. Rex Troy is going to find something. 100%. You seem to have that pixel button. Okay, that's weird. Wild to hear. Wild Star mentioned in 2025. True. Wow, Final Fantasy 14 learned from each other to improve. Okay, that is crazy. I've never heard anyone say that. People who usually go to Final Fantasy 14 is like, okay, this is better. Like, that's it, end of story. Housing's going to be crazy on Moonguard. You know what? Anything that is on the role-playing server, I'm going to see so many good things. So many good things on these servers. What? Being able to set a warband alts hangout on your... Exactly. Having your alts to be able to sit in the home is a very, very, very good thing. When you talk about role players, you know it's going to be a lot of time seemingly, and there's possibilities, player housing, artists, references to make. Yep, everyone. I think everyone is enjoying this. I immediately started thinking about the ERP apocalypse incoming. I kind of think that the role-playing servers might keep the game going. I think that's what might happen. I think some of the content is going to have its issues for a very long time. But I think this player housing will increase the subscription rate by more than we actually know. I like if you're a role player, why would you do it in World of Warcraft? Do you know? Like, why would you do it? So this is disguised. This is disguised greed, you know. Now, a lot of the ERPers are going to come to World of Warcraft. Well, retail. That is a cool looking room. Some things are misplaced and random, but like, it's not too like. Are doors active as well? Are doors always closed, or can you just click on the door and it will open for you and then close behind itself? And these are like, are a lot of the items activable? How do you say it? Can you use the items? You know, can you? Will there be beds you can click on? Your character gets on and goes to sleep. You know,